Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for Destination Ladakh. We have two very fine speakers with us today who are going to be telling us about this fabulous destination. I had the privilege of going around Ladakh a couple of years ago, and I know just what a glorious and mystical place it is. So we're delighted to be able to introduce it to you, or indeed tell you very much about the destination and its sort of conservation success stories in those high Himalayas. I am going to be, there's two parts to it, and I'm sorry to say that Hashim Chabji has not been able to join us today. He's got another technical problem in the destination where he is. So I've had to be replaced by a wonderful man called Surya Ramchandran, well known also in Ladakh, certainly amongst the snow leopards. And so he'll be doing part two of this. So I will introduce part one now. And Vishwas Makhija is a well-known adventurer and character in the adventure sector in India. Runs a wonderful company called India Insight Tours. And I think Ladakh was one of your first great destinations and probably got into the adventure travel world. So we're really delighted to have Vishwas with us today to introduce us to this glorious Himalayan country. So Vishwas, can you take us through and take us on? Thank you.
Thank you, Julian, for this introduction. First of all, Julie to everybody who's plugged in for this call, and thank you for coming by. Yes, I think I got the Ladakh bug way back in '87 as a 17-year-old young man, and I think I'm still young at heart. The mountains keep you always young, I think, and I keep going back every year to this wonderful land, which I think embraced me way back then, 33 years ago, and continues to brace me today. Yes, I think Ladakh is a land of diversity, very rich culture, a great heritage. And I think the most important for any destination are its people. And by far, Ladakh has people with very large hearts, very kind, very humble, very forward-looking, and really do whatever it needs to be done over the years. And I was in Ladakh just recently in February for the Ladakh Winter Conclave, which was organized by the government of Union Territory of Ladakh, the local associations. And it was a big insight into where Ladakh is heading in today's time. We all know that we all gone through a rough patch last 13, 14 months. Still, it looks a little bit tough going forward, but to be honest, what I saw in Leh in February during the Winter Conclave, I mean, everybody's getting together, the local associations, the hotels, the travel associations, the taxi union, and especially the present generation, or I'd say generation next. I have friends who've been there 30 years and now their kids are taking over. And this new generation of new entrepreneurs, or they have entrepreneur blood in them since they've been seeing their parents grow the business, and they really want to take Ladakh to a next level. I think they all need our support. It was an eye-opener in February, the whole way we spent those 5 days in Ladakh. One second. And it seemed that the baton is being moved forward to the people, to this next generation, and I think they will do a great work. Yes. Having said that, Ladakh, as we have seen over the years, when I joined in '87, the business, Ladakh was more of a summer destination. At that point, I think in the late '80s, early '90s, 90% or 95% of the business was inbound. And that was good. In several ways. It was still very virgin, a lot of valleys, a lot of treks, a lot of trans-Himalayan drives. But I think Ladakh as all things move ahead in tourism, and the tourists or tourism has its larger implications, then that movie came, it's called The Three Idiots, which just changed the whole scenario of Ladakh. And the whole country finally awoke to a destination called Ladakh, and everybody started going in herds. And that did have a larger effect, I think, although it did fill up a lot of pockets, it filled up a lot of local hotels, it brought a lot of revenue to everybody in the destination. But I think somewhere down the line, we more or less, people forgot, one second, that we all had to keep in mind how we were going to take care of the environment around us. And that's what was discussed largely in when we were there in February, I think. So yes, I think one of the prime objectives, which I need to tell all of you, is Ladakh is no more only a summer destination. We all need to work around giving it into almost a 12-month period, because there is so much happening in spring, in autumn, in summers, and in the peak of winters. I'm sure Surya will run us down later about what he does in the winters there. But Ladakh is evolving, and it is spreading its wings. I would say during the summers, of course, you have a lot of monastery festivals. You have the roads open from Kashmir and from Manali side. So a lot of people drive into Leh and they do various kind of trips. But what is happening in the winters, I think, is a lot of local festivals, I think, which needs to be taken into consideration. The biggest is Losar during late December, early January. Also, I think which is really picking up around the world, I think, is also ice climbing. And Ladakh is turning out to be a very popular destination for ice climbing. There was an ice climbing festival in Nubra this year, and it took in a lot of eyeballs around the world. Similarly, during the summers, there is a famous Sudu bouldering festival or rock climbing festival happening in the Sudu Valley near Kargil. So again, I mean, diversity, there is so much there. Extreme mountain biking coming into Ladakh and spreading its tentacles all over. Well, every destination, of course, has its footprints with arts and crafts, with its cuisine, with its pashmina. I think is another thing which Ladakh is very well known for. We all hear about pashmina around the world, but a lot of this comes from the Changthang Plains, close to Tibet border. It's a cash crop. It's a growing industry there. Just give me a second. I need to get this.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay, there I go. So of course, Ladakh, as we know, it's a land of passes, glacier, deserts, and so many more things. It's one destination which surely can leave you spellbound in every aspect. The more important thing is that a lot of culture, despite of, in a way, over tourism, it is still so well intact. And we've been discussing with the local government there that we need to move Ladakh. We need to decompress places like the Indus Valley. We need to decompress Pangong. We need to decompress Somaruri and move tourism into other areas, which are Zanskar and Kargil, and apart also expand more into the lower Ladakh areas of Hemishukmachen or Sham, as we call it. And lately, Zanskar always had its connectivity through Kargil. It used to be a long way drive from Leh to Kargil into Zanskar through Padum. Last year, the road which are being built through Chile is through, and Zanskar is only it's only a 10 hours drive from Leh now. So Leh is the valley. This is the Indus Valley, one of the great shots, I think, which one of my friends took from France here. Yeah, we always say that one has to, sometimes one needs to look at things from a distant perspective to see the full picture, and that's what Ladakh is, I think. It just gives you another high. It gives you another reason to believe in yourself, to believe in travel, to believe in everything you can do in the outdoors. Yes, as you said, it has iconic landmark in the history. It is a very important region on the old Silk Route, and it is so well preserved. As I said, little bit earlier as well. Yes, it's a place where you can really find your peace, tranquility, and silence. You walk into any valley, it is still so virgin. You won't find a soul. You might come across some shepherds who are going there, and I think it's also one of the destinations where, in the present times, as we say, COVID protocols and all those things coming in, you can just be on your own. Your clients can just be on their own while they traverse different valleys or different regions of Ladakh. Yeah, I mean, any picture you take of Ladakh, it's like a picture. It's a coffee table book, and it just leaves you spellbound. I'm sure a lot of people, or the guests here who joined us, have sent clients to Ladakh, or they've been to Ladakh, and they know what I'm talking about here. Talking about, I want to come back to one thing about infrastructure. Ladakh, as we know, has been growing in infrastructure. Leh definitely has a lot of good hotels, as you can find in any big city in India. Also across the regions which are very popular, Pangong, Samuduri, Nubra, plenty of homestays have come up. Also plenty of camps have come up, which are very comfortable for average, I would say, average clients who want to go there. Yes, you just have to be careful sometimes about hygiene levels, which I think our friends in Ladakh are working very hard on these, especially around campsites. And I think we've been stressing a lot to the local communities about, and I think I want to stress to all the people who are here, is to be very sensitive to environment when they send clients to Ladakh. I think it has a very fragile environment. And one of the biggest troubles I think we face in any destination in the Himalayas is the growing plastic use. And I have been an advocate of no single plastic use among our community in ATOI, and we've been following that vigorously with the local community in Ladakh. So my take to everybody here would be that do send clients to Ladakh. People need business, but please sensitize your clients to keep a balance of the local fragile environment. Let them not use single-use plastic bottles. There are alternatives available in the market, like livestock bottles, which I use for myself and for all our clients. And I think we need to leave legacy behind. We need to leave Ladakh as pristine as possibly it was 40 years ago. Yes, I mean, this is one shot which I think which is from Amure Plains, very close to Pang, and I think the caption is just to right. It says, "Look deep into nature, and then you will understand it better." This is one of my favorite, I think, shots. As I was saying about the art and craft, these piraks which the ladies wear, the costumes, the dress. Another thing what is happening in Ladakh is with these new entrepreneurs, what is coming forward is a lot of Ladakhi textiles. There are these local designers who are really taking the Ladakhi textiles to the world. One of the local designers, a girl called Sonam, she did her first show at the Lakme Fashion Week last year. And apparently she's heading to Europe soon to bring the Ladakhi costume and culture to another level, I think. Yes, of course, it has its unmatched beauty, unlimited adventures, and high passes. And here you see these kids playing a game of cricket. I'm sure this is not an IPL game, but I'm sure in coming times, we should have some more interesting things happening in Ladakh on the IPL front, I guess. We always say these travel to see beautiful places, to meet beautiful souls. And truly, as I said right in the beginning, Ladakh has some of the most beautiful souls and human beings. Some of my closest friends come from there. There are one people, I think, if you reach out to them, they will go all out to help anybody who who steps foot there or still hasn't been there, they're very, very reachable. They are very open. They are very willing to lend the extra hand in every possible way. Coming back to the clients who we send to Ladakh, I would say that we should create, all of us as a community should create some SOPs, which we should hand over to every client that they need to follow while they are not in Ladakh, but anywhere in the Himalayas, so that we could protect our environment there. And I would say have it signed. It'll be a good way, responsible way of carrying things forward. I touched earlier, the greatest of any culture, of course, is the festivals, and Ladakh has festivals almost during every month in different monasteries, whether they're in this valley, whether it is in Nubra, whether it is in Zanskar. So, I mean, when we were there in February, we had the festival at the Stoke Palace, and it was absolutely stunning. So every month there's a festival happening. So one can always create programs around festivals. So it's an added advantage to clients. Yes, of course, it's a journey into religious and folk traditions, and there are ample in this part of the world. It's like one world, one region and many worlds put together. Nothing better than Ladakh and being on a trek and sleeping under the galaxy of stars. Ladakh can also be promoted, since I talk about stars, for astro journeys. That's a new product they're also trying to launch. I mean, our friends in Leh. So if you have clients who are looking for astro journeys, Ladakh is a destination to go for. There is an observatory called Handle, which is about 7 hours from Leh, which is being developed for astro tourism. There are some local issues which we are trying to sort out with the administration. But yes, being in nature in Ladakh, under the stars, there's nothing like it. Yes, kindness is like snow, it beautifies everything it covers. I think that's what I think humanity needs to be as well, you know. Yes, I think it's again coming back to my slides, coming back to the people all the time, and that's what it is. Yes, during the Central Asian trade routes, yes, people stayed back, civilizations evolved, and yes, I think they left is some of the most kindest people on Mother Earth. I always say, take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, kill nothing but time. And that's what I think you need to do in Ladakh. Kill your time, and you will always fall short of time when you look around the beauty of Ladakh. Well, culinary delights in the cold desert. I was there recently in February, and we were invited to somebody's house for a dinner on the last evening in Shea Village. And I must tell you, it was one of the most delightful meals to be in a local house hosted. They have a great variety. I mean, we always hear about thuppa and momos. I think some of you can agree to that, but there is much more than thuppa and momos, what you get in Ladakh. This is on the summit of Stoke Kangri, one of the trekking peaks, which is now closed again. Interestingly, this peak was closed because of water being polluted by people setting up base camps of Stoke Kangri, and the village community got together and they took a decision of closing the mountain for climbing for 3 years. And I don't think so. And this is one of our last clients who went up that mountain 2 years ago. I think this is where we have to be careful on. We have to ensure that we protect the local communities. We have to ensure responsibility towards the environment, because Ladakh has its water scarcity, Ladakh has its water problems. And we have to preserve, we have to not get into this over-tourism mode, or I would use the word yatra tourism or yatra trekking, as has been happening in the last couple of years in the Himalayas, because our environment is too fragile. And I'm glad the friends in Ladakh took some very strong steps to get this back into control. Yes, when you go to a magical place, Ladakh, to that region or any valley in Ladakh, your feet should be dirty, messy, and your eyes sparkling. And there is no way that you can't come back sparkling from Ladakh. It's one destination where I think I have set foot in '87 for the first time. And I keep going back every year and again. Every time I'm there, it's like, wow. I mean, it just doesn't, it always blows me away with its sanity of the place it is. Well, I didn't introduce myself in a proper way. Here I'm in the capacity of being the president of Adventure Tour Operators Association of India. I also wear a hat of running an India and side tours as an adventure travel company, which I started in 1996. I'm happy to take any questions if anybody would have. So thank you.
Thank you, Vishwas. That was wonderful and fantastic photographs, so you can understand from that just what a magical place it is. And like you and like us at TOFTigers, we're really keen to try and preserve that magic.